We're going live.
I really ought to work on doing some kind of what they call an intro video so I could, it could run and play a little bit. And, maybe I wish the heck I had, I wish we had video of you grabbing that turtle by the tail. Good morning. Hey, good morning, everybody. We're live.
Good morning, Miss Carol.
And a few other things like that I can remember that I sure wish, maybe standing in the bow of a canoe shooting garp and grabbing a turtle by the tail and what else? There's some other good.
I got a mental video of you saying, I just hit that big blueback.
We didn't have much luck with them guys. Good morning, Carol. Did I say that already?
And the arrow popped out of him.
Yeah, it sure did. Those things were
tough.
Probably not near as big as they look, but they look like blue whales. Carol said, "Good to see you."
Good to be seen. I've been busting my hump.
Yeah, you have. So, Carol, how are things in Michigan? As we used to say. I got that from a friend of mine. He used to talk about how bad everybody drove. That he was the only native Floridian I think I've ever known for real, and he used to complain about the snowbirds, and he said he called Michigan Yankees, as he would say. Anybody north of Florida was a Yankee to him. And he called them missed again. He said, "Oh my goodness, they missed me again." They're from Michigan. Hey, good morning, Mary Ellen.
My goodness,
it's Tina. Mary Ellen, are you sitting there with? Is Freddie still around? If so, Freddie McGowan. He may be gone. He's from Ireland.
I found the funniest video this morning of a Irish guy talking about Scotsmen drinking all the beer in Boston. with the World Cup thing going on, and they were all there to watch baseball, and they had just won their first World Cup game in 37 years or something ridiculous, and they were enjoying the local alcoholic beverages, I guess.
I'm sure. Good morning, Nico. Welcome in.
Yeah, looky what I have a new member of my family.
Oh yeah, look what Mark's got.
Yeah.
There he is.
There he is. Elliot, the grouse's bane, destroyer of mama's furniture. Aggravator of older dogs.
I'm not even sure I know what those dogs look like.
It looks like an English setter, except it's Welsh.
Are they short-haired?
No, they're long-haired dogs.
So he'll be long. Okay. Elliot is adorable. Is that his name, Elliot?
That's his name. That's what they named him, and I just decided I'd keep it that way.
Let him go. Yeah, that's probably good.
Sound like anybody else's name. And
are they? Are the parents or
he'll be in boot camp real soon.
Yeah, are they hunters?
Caitlin knows about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just bought him this morning.
So where does he live?
He's gonna live here.
No, but I mean, where's he at right now?
Out west of Casper.
Wow. Hey, Freddie says hi. Hi, Freddie. I got to talk to Freddie the other night after on T-Town Mary Allen's show, and we talked about Gaelic football, soccer a little bit. Hurling's what we really were talking about.
That's what I figured you'd talk about.
But then we also got off on motorcycle racing, which turns out we're both fans of the Irish brand of racing over there, the road racing stuff. And I loved it. It was a great time. Well, I'm glad he did, Mary Ellen. I had a great time. I mean, I enjoyed that tremendously. Although we still got some, I guess still got some learning to do about some of that. He was telling me that Gaelic football, he just called it Gaelic, is like sort of like soccer, but you can use your hands, but you have to always use both hands. You can't use one hand. You can, and you could do and a few other things. But he said that's what he played growing up and what he played later, I guess. And he just referred to it as Gaelic.
I think that's what Paddy Mayne played was Gaelic.
Could be, yeah.
The guy that kind of formed the British SAS or
yeah,
part of that original group.
Do you know the story of? It's not Irish, but I'm pretty sure this was a Scottish. The last known. I don't know a polite way to say this. Enemy killed in battle, modern battle, by a longbow was in World War II.
It was Howard Hill.
No, it wasn't Hill. This was a British or a Scottish, British, I guess, officer, and he carried a broadsword. And I knew about him for the broadsword because he was the last soldier to brandish a broadsword in combat in recent history. In World War II, he did use it. He carried it in battle and used it. But he also had a longbow at one point early in the war, and he actually shot somebody at several hundred yards.
With
no doubt a lofty
yard shaft.
I mean, I did not know that. Yeah, Freddie is agreeing and said, yes, the Scottish guy. He knows. There, see? So I guess Brenda was telling me, she said, do you know who this guy is? She'd seen something about him. I said, well, I knew about the broadsword, but I didn't know about the longbow.
Freddie's there. This deal I watched this morning with the Irishman talking about Scots, and it was hilarious. He said, it's kind of like if you took Ireland and mixed it with Texas, and they had a really nasty divorce. That would make the Scots. He said, I love you people, but you're drinking too much. There's an Irish guy saying this.
You're drinking my beer.
If you all go away, we'll have to start drinking with the Germans. And I've had too many sausages. I'll send you that deal.
Hey, Chuck. Yeah, I do.
You'll love it.
Good morning, Chuck.
He looks like a guy would be fun to have at camp.
That'd be a good thing to have at camps, a good Irishman. I mean, not a partial Irishman.
Freddie was in Scotland for 20 years, so he's a hybrid. Well, my buddy who's half Scot, he says Scots are just feral Irishmen anyway.
Feral Irishmen. Tina says we had Gaelic football at their Irish festival. Oh, cool. I don't remember them doing that. Well, I don't actually remember. We didn't have Irish festivals. We had Scottish festivals around here.
Yeah.
Highland Games,
yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't see that. They were kicking, bales of hay and stuff. not
Here, pick that telephone pole up and chuck it over there.
Playing it, yeah. Most excellent. Good deal. I just anyway, that was fun. I really enjoyed meeting Fred. I'd seen Freddie before, but with the first time we actually talked on screen like this, and it was fun. I liked it a lot. Maybe someday I'll get to do that again, but because I'll have more questions. I don't know if I've seen my wife. She was the one. She was the one relating the story about the longbow, and I wish she was in here. I would ask her where she got their information. I'd look it up, but I'm sure it's true. But I did know about the broadsword because I'd read something about that not too long ago, and I knew the guy's name, and now I can't think of it. I can't remember.
Never ask why.
Never ask why. Oh me.
And who populated Greater Appalachia? a bunch of
Exactly.
Ulster Scots.
A bunch of Ulster Scott or Irish, the mix there. That's where we come from. Except I did have my great grandfather came over at the end of the potato famine, and he, moved right down, well, down the road a little ways from here, and settled in. And I can't figure out exactly. I think he might have been County Cook. Is it County? No, not County Cook. Yeah, Cork, maybe. And he was a farmer, as best I can tell there. And he, of course, probably didn't have anything to plant. But so I've got pretty close Irish links. It's not too far back.
Came over and started chopping hillsides out and putting in tobacco.
Yeah, that's probably true. I never have looked into that too far. I need to go down there and talk to some of my people down there and see what they know, the ones that actually live there. I would love to take a sword into combat. Nico says he would love to have carried a sword into combat. The closest he got was a K-bar knife.
K-bar knife.
That's close, Nico. A little short, but close, and can be effective. There's my bride.
There's your bride.
Miss Brenda, do you remember the gentleman's name you were telling me about the other day who used a longbow in World War II and a sword? I'm just trying to think of his name. And Mark's here. I think Freddie McGowan is listening, which is also funny. I didn't know Freddie's last name until the other night, and it's McGowan, and that just so happens to be my dentist's last name. He's a McGowan. I'm probably saying it. I'm probably not saying it like them, but oh. The only thing I could see wrong with Nico with carrying a broadsword into modern combat, it'd probably get in your way from time to time. I don't know. Maybe not, but I think I'd just soon have a broadsword as a bayonet on the end of a rifle, I think. Mary Ellen is saying that his name was John Malcolm. I knew it was John Malcolm Thorpe. Oh, hell. John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Churchill.
His nickname was
proper name there.
I like his nickname better. Fighting Jack.
Yeah, Fighting Jack.
That's easier to say than John Malcolm Thorpe Fleming Aloysius Churchill.
That's a mouthful.
He also
carried bagpipes. Well, of course he did. I'd have been a little disappointed if I found out he didn't carry the pipes.
A set of pipes and a broadsword and a longbow.
The longbow part was I loved that, of course, but I also was really surprised. But you know what? If you wanted to, there's not much better for stealthy weapon and a good bow. Because
I know. I knew he's passed, but I knew a Navy corpsman that ran around with the recon boys in Vietnam. He carried a takedown recurve bow with him everywhere he went.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be
And
easy.
his grandson told me after he passed that he had deployed it in action. He never told me that, but
I wonder what he used for arrows. Did he take arrows with him, or was he making
cedar shafts? He never shot fake arrows.
fake arrows? I was wondering because you could probably get aluminum ones that would fit together, to make a longer shaft. But as you say, they'd be, fake arrows. But it'd be handy to pack with your bow, probably.
I got a buddy that shoots a beautiful homemade Osage orange longbow, beautiful bow that he built, and he shoots carbon arrows out of the darn thing.
Oh, that's not right. That's
but
wrong.
only when he's practicing. And then when he goes hunting, he carries wooden arrows, and I'm like, what's up with that, dude?
Yeah, that seems like that would
I don't want to break my wooden arrows. Just waste them. He makes a beautiful wooden arrow, but
that's a good point in that sense. But I wouldn't think they'd shoot the same.
He's like they're just precision guided missiles, those.
That I don't doubt. I know that and some of those guys shooting the new recurves that they shoot these days are shooting little tiny carbon arrows that are literally missiles, and probably the only thing they don't have on the tips of warhead.
Well, they had something along that line for a while, and
they do have something, but
all the states started banning them as quick as they could.
Nikki says, well, that's true. I would love to learn to play the bagpipes. Yeah, there's not much. That's probably one of my only. The Amazing Grace sounds really good on bagpipes. I'm trying to get that out. I can't. If there's anything I was going to listen to Amazing Grace, that'd be it. Or any particular way. Good morning, Dave. Adventures by D is in the room. Welcome. I'd love to. I don't know if I've got the wind to blow on a set of pipes anymore. If I tried to learn to play them, I'd love. What I want to start simple. I just want a Scottish or an Irish hand drum. And I can't remember the proper name for it right now. And somebody's got one for sale around here, used one they had. They're just, getting rid of it. And I almost called them up. My wife might have killed me, but
your wife would kill you. You'd be.
But I sure would like to have one to play around on.
Singing a grass dance song or something. You'd be in there beating on a rawhide drum.
Oh, me. Oh, remember my my GoPro quit working when I was out there. I don't know if you realize that or not, but when I got
when I was up like hanging by my fingertips off that cliff.
Well, now I did get some on my other camera, so I didn't all go without. I've got some video, but my GoPro quit. When I took it out of the bag, it just never would work. And I came home and did all the troubleshooting that GoPro says to do. And I finally said, well, it's broke. And I said, well, no kidding. And so I got to send it back the other day, and they're sending me a new one. Well, at a cost. It wasn't, it's a newer model, and it does more. So actually I'm coming out a little bit ahead on the deal, but I've got to wait on it. And I told them, I said, I really need this, soon, because I need to learn how to use it. And I got a trip planned, so hopefully it'll be here in the next week or so.
Oh, cool.
And I started working on gear for that. I'm afraid Dave is expecting great things from me, and I'm not. I don't know that that's going to happen. So I got to do the best I can. He
We
got.
have
I was talking to him the other
this
night,
has
and he was.
become the busiest summer on the planet for me.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's going to be boom, 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 boom. That's going to be hunting season.
No kidding. That's not that far off now.
No, I know. It's just kind of going. Psh.
Carol says that they had a popper for her grandfather's memorial.
Come here, Alvin. Come here, buddy.
That would be I was going to have anything like that over played or sung over me when I died. That's what it ought to be.
Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. You might as well meet the people too.
My goodness, that's Alistair.
That's Alvin. Oh,
Oh, and
he don't like to be held.
No, I can tell. He has grown
I
up.
bet when I have Elliot, he'll just like pose for you.
Yeah. And how big does he get? Is he a 40 or 50-pound dog or bigger?
40 to 50, yep, for a male.
Nico says 3 months and I'll be stalking elk. I can't wait. So does that mean you got drawn, Nico? I didn't think you did.
I got a 45 caliber or a 54 caliber muzzleloader. I'm going to shoot an elk with this year.
Oh yeah, that would be cool to get one with that.
And Carol, I call him Alvin. My daughter named that cat Alistair.
Alistair.
But I yell Alvin, and here he comes running.
Oh, Nico's just helping out. He's not actually hunting.
Oh, hey, he's a pack horse.
Yeah. I still out there amongst them.
You come carry meat for me. I give you a little bit of jerky. That'll be a good trade.
Well, before we dive off into other things, tell the listeners just a tiny bit. You went to an event, a convention. Well, I don't know what to call it. Was it like a convention or
with last the Pronghorn group?
Yeah, when you went with the Pronghorn group. But what was the event that they were at?
Sportsman's Expo.
Sportsman's Expo. Okay, I couldn't think of that.
Yeah, and all the I call them critter groups. All the critter groups were there. You know, Ducks Unlimited and Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Wild Turkey Federation, all the Mule Deer Foundation, Muley Fanatics. Because they got to have. Actually, they've got 3 going now. Mule deer groups, all vying for the same pot of money.
Right. Nico asked about no back. He wanted to know if he could get just a little bit of backstrap. You might have to carry 2 things back, Nico, to get backstrap. Look,
yeah, they're going to put both the fronts on you. You're going to bring your big heavy-duty pack frame.
Tina wants to know what my name
is. The good Lord made horses for a reason, and mules.
Well, Tina, you got to look at the title of today's event.
We haven't talked about them yet.
And we hadn't talked about what that is, but you know me changing my name up all the time. It has to do with the scientific name of one of my favorite wading birds, and we'll get to that just in a minute. Nico, when does that season start in Arizona? Just out of because I'm not up on current
archery or rifle season.
Yeah, well, that's true. He hadn't said anything about archery, so I guess I assumed might be rifle season. But so when does the first season open for you?
Me?
Yeah, this year. What is it? September?
Well, I didn't draw, but
Well, I mean, in
I didn't
general.
draw an antelope license or a pronghorn license, so I don't get to go do that. I'll get to help with lots
Oh,
of
Carol, that is awful. Look at this. Actually, it's
What?
really good. We won't regret watching. It's a show.
Carol, I need to
Uh,
introduce you to my buddy Rich Genzel, who's the pun master of the world. I
Nico
can't
says
say
early
anything.
September.
I've been showing photos of my round corral I've been building this summer, and every time Genzel says, "Thanks for posting this,"
Posting. Actually, Mary Ellen Mark can probably address this better because he worked down there for a couple of years. But they have some really big elk in Arizona.
well, the largest bull ever harvested came out of Arizona off the
Yeah,
White Mountain Apache Indian Reservation. 504,
and that's
500.
the White Mountains or something.
Yeah, it's hard to even imagine that much antler on an animal, a
Oh,
living
I know that had to be huge.
504 inches of antler.
And if you guys don't know, when you measure a trophy antler like it, you're measuring a lot of different things, and it all goes into a score. And so 500 something inches is huge. I mean, huge, biggest bulls in White Mountains. First off, Carol, never be sorry for making me laugh. I appreciate that. Don't worry about that. It was good. My buddy's got a special military tag, so they get to hunt rifle in mid-September. Usually, rifle tags don't start until September, though. Later. I'm guessing he means. And he said that because he said a minute ago, archery starts in September. I don't know. Our stuff here
I'll learn on the
doesn't start until
on the 10-foot.
mid-October, early October, maybe now. See, you never know, Mary Ellen. You just never know.
Our,
And then again,
our rifle season doesn't start till October 15 up here.
well, our rifle
But
season.
archery elk starts September 1st. So
I don't know what it is today because it has changed, but it used to be, as you know, archery season here used to open up about mid to late October for a couple of weeks, just archery, and then it would go to muzzle. Then they started doing like a week-long muzzle loading season, and then gun season. Centerfire rifle season would open, and
in November.
yeah, the 1st of November or sometime, because that's when we used to always go. Was towards, well, actually, it was later in November because we'd go during Thanksgiving, and
Nico, we run elk season up here from October 15 to January 1st or January 30th or 31. How many days does January have in it? October 15 to the end of January.
31, isn't it? Then January have 31.
I never remember.
I never could remember that little poem that tells you how many. What is this? Oh no,
it's not like you can't. It's not like oysters where you only eat them if there's an R in the month.
Can you read that? Carol's telling Mary Ellen, lots of real learning mixed in with squirrels, Looney Tunes, and other nonsense, and we wouldn't have. That's very true. Those are true statements. All of them.
Now he has sound effects.
Oh yes, I have sound effects, guys. I just found out today. Like for example,
you can only deploy them.
But this might be my favorite.
It's Leopold. Okay. You don't have to play them all.
No, that's it. I'm not doing
they
any
got
more.
These surprises.
Yeah, I want to keep the rest of them for future use. I could have done that, but I've forgotten to. Brenda, what are you typing? Apostrophe period Q. That's that code. Well, Carol, we were trying to think how we can make that slide noise, that whistle down to but instead of an explosion, make it sound like a coyote hitting the desert floor. And so we got to work on that a little bit for that, for the Acme Anvil Company crash or something to that effect. We could drop an anvil off a barn. That would work, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Here, Brenda, here's the new.
Oh, yeah.
There's a news.
Hold it right there. That's real good. That's good.
News orange right there.
The news orange. I love that black patch.
The grouse's bane.
The grouse's bane. I'll get to meet him probably out there.
You will. You'll definitely get to meet him. He might go fishing with us, actually.
That'd be good.
Otherwise, the girls will have him turned into some kind of a house pet or something.
Yeah, you don't want that. You want a hunting dog. Which one of you is climbing on a barn to try out that sound effect? Well, I don't know if I can.
Well, I'm the one that the wind blew off the top of my barn one day, so I guess I volunteer.
Yet another one of the reasons he can't walk today,
Well, my dog licked me awake.
It's one of you.
I was laying on my back in the rain, knocked out. The dog come over and was like, "Well, wonder if he tastes good because he might be down."
Yeah. All right. Tina said that could be your squirrel sound, and then she's telling Carol, "Don't finish her." Well, I may be past my climbing on the barn days. I've climbed on plenty of barns, but not in a few years.
I built that. I didn't build it. I built a tripod for my block and tackle when I was lifting them heavy gate posts. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey, can you make that tripod higher? And I want to ride that block and tackle like your grandson did." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll hook it up to the end of my barn. And while you're up there, I prefer that barn to be red."
You could tie him off up there, and then he'd have
I'll tie him up, and he can paint while he's up there.
Nico, we do hunt here some, but it's hard to draw. That's a drone hunt usually too, but those are really not common yet. But there's a few more all the time. North Carolina, I think, has a few now, maybe, and Virginia and Kentucky both, I think, hunt elk, but it's really limited. But we do have them.
Of the states, Kentucky would be the one to go to.
Yeah, Kentucky had them first back east, as far as I know. Carol says, "I wonder what sound it made when you were blown off that barn. You didn't happen to record it for the kids." That was before the show, but I
don't recall the sound. I wasn't awake for it. So.
Oh me, whose horn blowing and why? Which horn? I don't know what that. I'm not.
Oh, sure. The horn blowing is the train going by my house.
Oh yeah, so that's not a sound effect. I guess it is.
That's your friendly neighborhood UP Railroad.
Union Pacific, yeah.
Union Pacific Railroad conductor dude or engineer laying on the horn right as he goes by the front of my house.
Yeah. It's a fact. It's not very far away.
Yeah, that's the old 835 going by right now.
The old 835. Turn it sound like Petticoat Junction here.
Yeah. I like, my personal favorite is like the 0345 or the 0415. He's on a variable schedule.
Oh.
And I'm like that. We live outside of a town of 63 human beings. Why do you need to even touch your horn? because it's the law. It's the law.
I can't remember. Do you guys have a flashing light? I know at the
on one end we've got 2 crossings, and on the most used one we have a flashing light thing, but not on the east one.
We of course, growing up around here, most of the crossings just had a sign, it said railroad crossing, and that was it. And no lights, no bells, no gates. And my uncle, the one that was in the Second World War and the Korean War, he was known to drink from time to time, and he was probably in his cups. And he came home one night, and as he crossed the hill, I mean, the railroad runs literally on the ridge of a hill, or a ridge right along the top, and you had to top it and go over to get down to the house. And he got hit by the train, so my grandmother started writing letters, and she eventually got a crossing light put in there. What's your schedule whenever I get there? Sometimes he goes by your house blowing to get pronghorn or mule deer off the track too, doesn't he?
Yeah, they always kill more when they do that. But
yeah, I know. You've told me about that. That made more after you said that. It made more sense.
And they just have to. They just have to. It's a constant education process that those conduct, or those engineers. You gotta. As they get new ones coming on, it's just they turn them and they run them right down the tracks, and then it's.
Well, that's probably what they're taught to do from the beginning. You see something on the tracks, blow the whistle, and
it'd be very difficult not to.
Excuse me. I think the law too is they have to blow it before they cross through town. I don't think they have a door. I mean, that's just the way it is.
That's a regulation they have to. And we have one or two sneak through in the middle of the night that they still wake me up, but they're not being obnoxious about it.
Yeah, not laying down on it and just
and
hanging up.
We've had a lot of passenger trains start coming through here in the last 6 months or so, and
that's interesting.
They run pretty quiet too.
Brenda just now saw the picture of the puppy, or she's commenting about it anyway.
I like his ball too. That's me.
Oh my goodness! So today we're going to talk about some birds, more birds. We talked about birds a lot, but that's because there's lots of them. Today I want to talk about some of the wading birds in this country, and these two on the front cover happen to be a couple of my favorites.
Well, and
make sure you're up to speed, Brenda, because you are behind if you're just now seeing the puppy. What were you going to say?
I don't remember. Oh, birds is cool.
Birds is cool. So let's get this party started.
But the longer you take today, the less time I have to dig in the dirt and put posts in.
Oh, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
How I feel today, that's probably a really good thing, but it's nice and cool outside.
Oh, Carol. She's on a roll today.
And now it's the slideshow we've all been waiting for.
Oh, my goodness.
You sent her the slideshow ahead of time, and she prepped.
No, I didn't. I promise.
I'm learning interesting things about Miss Carol this morning.
That's from hanging around school kids too long. Okay, here's what we got. And I can't see you anymore at the moment, so if I need to, let me know. If you start doing hand signals, you're choking or anything, I won't see you. So anyway, we're going to talk about, and the first ones we're going to talk about are the crane species that live in North America. This is one of them. This is the most common one. And while there's only one of them, there are a couple of subspecies that I'll show pictures of, but they're still the same bird, at least so far. One of these days, somebody will probably throw them in a blender and tell us all they're something else.
I don't think they consider them the same species, graders and lessers.
Well, according to my information, they still do, but that may not be.
We sure have to mess about with the number of birds that Arizona is allowed to harvest annually because of the greater Sandhill cranes and the lesser Sandhill cranes, and
that's got to be a hard call if you're a hunter.
Well, graders are significantly larger, but if you're looking at a bird that's just flying over, Arizona, it's a permitted hunt, and you have to check them in at a check station in the field that I used to sit at for days and days and days.
Yeah.
And the season would stop. Like once we reached the quota on greater Sandhill cranes, the season was over. And there would be hundreds of thousands of lessers there, and nobody could hunt them because they look, very similar. And it's hard to tell them on the wing like that one from that one. And so we just have to shut the hunt down.
I don't know if we have lessers at all back here or not.
You should have just lessers.
Okay. Well, then we got just lessers. Then I didn't know. I didn't realize that. I thought we had the full grown ones, or the graders.
You might have the big ones. The population we were dipping out of was the Rocky Mountain greater Sandhill cranes.
I'll have to look that up.
And if you go to the states east of here, so the graders are typically come to my place to nest, and up in the Rockies further to the north. And then the lessers are east of here. They're all going to Canada to nest up in Diane's country. And they when they reach the states, in all the states in the Great Plains except for Nebraska, they're just a game bird. You can hunt. They have a season, and you have a daily bag limit. I mean, they're extremely abundant. Nebraska does not hunt them at all because of they're such a tourist attraction. They stage out of Nebraska there on the Platte River, and there'll be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cranes there all at the same time. It's a spectacle.
Well, we have that too. That they started when they created the Hiwassee River, or I think they may just be called the Hiwassee. What do they call the water?
Refuge.
Right. But anyway, like an Indian refuge, I guess.
Indian tribe from F Troop.
But when they created that over time, and they started planting it for wildlife food, ducks and geese, and corn and millet and that kind of stuff, cranes started coming to Tennessee. I mean, they'd flown over here obviously for centuries or forever, but now they stop. And instead of going on further south, like because this flock I think mainly goes to Florida or down that way for winter, but some of them stay here now. They overwinter.
In Florida's birds.
Do what?
You're shortstop in Florida's birds.
Probably yes, but
but naturally it would have occurred.
Oh sure, and it's a big spectacle here. I mean, they draw pretty big crowds, and nowhere near the birds you see, but more and more every year. So there's, I don't know how many tens of thousands now, but maybe over 100,000 by this point. But it's grown pretty steadily. And a few years ago, Tennessee went through a big deal where they were wanting to hunt some for couple of reasons. One, like you said, they're hunted just about everywhere. But the farmers complain a lot down there.
Oh yeah, they do a lot of crop damage.
Yeah, they do. They're doing a lot of crop damage, and farmers said, we kind of like if you'd put effort to get rid of a few of them birds. And so that was a big deal, and it was, they had a lot of public meetings about it, but it is open now. That one of the things they worry about here is there are some of the remaining whooping cranes come through here and go on to Florida once they started getting some of those guys migrating again properly. And that's a concern, although I've never hunted cranes because, again, it wasn't a thing here. I don't see how you can mix them up. They don't look alike. Not really. Not to me, anyway. I mean, they're different colors, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, one of them's white and one of them's not.
Yeah, exactly. But they had a couple guys shoot them down there. And they said, we couldn't tell the difference. It's
happens
ridiculous.
Everywhere.
I don't know. Well, people get too excited, I suppose. But
I had a guy check in a big old trumpeter swan one day at a snow goose hunt, and he come out of the field with his bird, and he was so proud of himself, and he had it by the head, and he was holding it on his back, and its feet were dragging on the ground, and he's like, look at the size of this snow goose hut. I'm like, dude, I'm afraid to say that you're in trouble.
Oh man. Mary Ellen is they're leaving. Her and Freddie are going to ride cruise some of Route 66 today. That's
cool. Well, have fun.
I've got a couple of books about riding 66, but of course I haven't got there yet. That was another one of the things I hope to do when I retired. When I could do that, when I could still ride my scooter. Anyway, have fun, be safe out there. Stupid or liars? Well, a little bit of both, Tina. You kind of, in Mark's position, you kind of got to deal with both, because
he didn't lie because he
couldn't. No, he didn't lie because he wouldn't come in there.
He was coming in to check his birds in, and he wasn't the sharpest tool out in the shed.
Yeah. There's Surf Bum John. Welcome in, John. Now, because I couldn't see the chat, didn't see those guys coming and going. Now I'm back.
We got the Surf Bum in the house.
Surf Bum is in the house. So this is the Sandhill Crane. It's it's the graders are the largest cranes we have in North America. I will show you a picture here that shows that this is the birds that we have, some of the birds that we have actually get all the way over into Siberia in the nesting season. And there's some that live, you can barely see it, but there is a pathway down through sort of the middle part of the country and ends up down around Florida, the Gulf Coast. And then of course they're in Texas. As far as Sandhill cranes go, they're not on the endangered species list. They're of least concern, which means at this point in time, there's plenty of them. But if you've noticed on this group of slides, I did label them. They're almost all these pictures are somewhere around the country. This first one's in British Columbia. I can't tell if I've got where I've got my cursor. Let me see what my cursor's doing. British Columbia. This one down here is in Sacramento in California. I don't know about that middle one. Not sure where he's from. But the next one's down at the bottom. That's another Sacramento bird. And here's something that's unique about big birds. We have basically two large birds in this country that are waders, cranes, Sandhill cranes and the whooping cranes. And then we have great blue herons, which are sort of similar in size. I don't know which. Sandhills are taller, I think. But notice how they fly. Sandhill cranes fly with their neck extended, and all the heron species like the great blues and those guys, they fly with their neck folded up. So you can really tell, and their feet are tucked up different. They really look different when they're flying. And Sandhill cranes fly like that all the time.
But I can't tell you how many humans growing up that I heard call herons blue cranes.
Well, yeah, I think I have too, actually.
And that upper right photo there, that immature bird, who knows what they call a young crane? Whereas you'd call like a juvenile female chicken a pullet, or I mean they've got various, you got chicks, and on cranes, and I don't know why they call them this, but they refer to the juveniles as colts.
Colts, yeah.
Which is a young male horse.
I never understood that either, but they do. Something about that top one.
What are you? Tina said cranky.
Cranky, yeah, that would work. Something about that top one is an immature bird, and it's different. It's colored differently, obviously. But let me show you another picture, because I wonder if these are birds that live in Florida most of their life. And I'm thinking that maybe what they're eating is changing the color, because they call them, some of them they refer to as, I lost my button here. Where'd it go? Button. Who's got my button? Oh, it's on the next picture. Anyway, here's some more sandhills there. There's a sandhill chick at the upper left-hand corner in Mississippi getting weighed and checked, and maybe collared. I don't know if they're tagging, probably at least putting tags on the bands on their legs, I suspect. And I don't know why I did not include a picture of some of these birds in Tennessee, but I didn't. An interesting thing I noticed about this lower left-hand corner is that one, and that bird looks like an emu standing there to me. Just the way it's hunkered over. But these are tall birds. This is a lesser, and I wish I had a picture of them side by side, but I didn't do that. I should have. Oh, they call that, I know what they call that color, Mark. They refer to that as an ochre bird.
Those brown ones?
Those brown ones I don't know. So I don't know if they live, like
but
I say.
We see that same exact color.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah. We see them that are pale, and we see them that are darker.
Okay.
I think it's just a
natural thing,
genetic variation in the species, but they tend to be, those Florida birds do tend to favor that color more than, and it could very well have something to do with diet.
I just wonder about that, but anyway, and you can see a couple of these pictures. There's another BC Canada.
But, they'll eat corn. They do.
Oh yeah.
Enormous corn damage they can when a 50,000 of them land in your cornfield. They do a pretty good number on it, but they're not above eating a frog or two or whatever else they can snatch up.
That's what happens down here. They show up at just the right time. Sorry, I spilled something. They show up just at the wrong time as far as farmers are concerned, and they, get into their corn patch that they're getting ready to harvest or cut for whatever they're going to do with it.
It's still milk
and they just get in there.
The bears and the cranes are all in the corn and the whitetails.
Yeah. As my friend Clarence Scott used to tell us all the time, boys, all God's critters love corn.
Coffee nut.
He was our tractor driver he's born and raised and still, well, maybe not still, but farmed all the time. And he grew corn, he grew tomatoes, he grew all that kind of stuff. He just lived down the road here in Granger County, and he always wanted, we'd have him out working, making wildlife openings and stuff for us. He always wanted to put a little bit of corn in there. He said, let me put just a couple of rows of corn. He said, because all God's children loves corn. Oh man, he was a mess. He got to tell me sneaky ways to catch hawks when they were getting in your chicken house, and I about hit him over the head with an axe handle. So this is a whooping crane, and as you can see, they do general shape is like a sandhill, but they are a different color. And so I don't know, but I've never, like I said, since hunting them was never a thing back here growing up, I never tried it. So I don't know. Maybe you could get confused. I guess if you're really excited, and I know how that is, you can get excited. Maybe you could shoot the wrong one, but you should have a pretty good general idea of the ones not to pull trigger on. And whooping cranes have always been kind of special for me because, and I've told this story, I'm pretty sure before, but that was one of the animals I talked about when I was doing speeches as a 4-H kid in the 5th grade. And I just learned about them a bit then and realized and that was in the 60s. So there weren't very many of them left. I want to say there were 20 or 25 left that they knew about at that time. And this was when I was doing that speech. So now we've got a few hundred of them. They're not all free ranging, I don't think. I've got those numbers here somewhere, but it's one of the most endangered birds in the world, or critters in general. Interesting thing about them, they probably weren't ever really common. Not like sandhills. They were never like sandhills, I don't think. Well, not in anybody's recorded lifetimes. But at one time they were more numerous than they are today, obviously. And there's a good picture right there of that lower left. That's an example of whooping cranes standing alongside sandhills. And Mark, those two sandhills, are they?
So what did you say that photo was of?
Down here at the bottom corner.
Oh, I see. There's 2 sandhills and 2 whoopers behind.
Yeah, I was saying you can compare the two. They don't look alike.
And I was fortunate enough to be one of the last people to hold a live whooping crane at the Bosque in New Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were banding bird. To band. Tina mentioned leg bands on the bird, that previous bird. Every whooping crane has got leg bands on.
Oh yeah, every whooping crane is marked leg.
And we had 4 remaining in that western flyway kind of population when I was in grad school, and we went up to the Bosque del Apache to catch cranes at night and band them. We were catching mostly sandhill cranes. And you just wade out in the river and you got a headlamp, and cranes roost in the water in a riffle, typical, just stand in the water or on a little sandbar, and you walk in there and grab them by their big old long neck and put leg bands on them.
I bet they don't resist at all, do they?
Oh, not at all. And a sandhill crane will look you kind of for me, like at the bottom of my sternum.
Yeah,
height wise.
Right.
Whooping cranes look you right in the eye. They're a significantly larger bird, and we wore goggles, safety glasses.
Because they will peck your eyes out.
They will aim for your eyes intentionally. Yeah. It's a problem with retrieving dogs if you knock a sandhill crane down and it's not dead, you got to really watch out for your dog. But they're accurate and use that big beak as a defense when they need to. I don't blame them, but
I would too.
But there's a kind of popular Rocky Mountain beer that took care of the last 4 of those birds. So the high lines to their over the mountains.
Well, let's see. I've got a few numbers here. I think I got down to 21 wild birds. That was in 1941, actually. And then I think they kind of hovered around that number for quite some time. Now there's over 800. There's about 830, give or take. I don't know the exact number at this day, might be different. And but 560 of those are remnant populations in Texas. They're in Texas area.
Yeah, thank God for Aransas. That's the refuge that those birds fly to for the winter, and they just, they're pretty safe on the refuge.
Yeah, they refer to that as the Aransas wood buffalo population. So they're wintering in Aransas, and then they're going up to some of them at least go up to the woods buffalo.
Yeah, they go to the reserve. They go to the reserve in Canada.
In Canada, yeah, and that's called
and
the
then
wood.
Fly down to Aransas in Texas.
Yeah.
I don't think they shortstop the bird, like the Sandhill Cranes will start up in Canada and fly to Nebraska there around Kearney, and they hang out there for a pretty good while. They'll be there about a month, and then they go on south and kind of populate the lower Great Plains, and then they turn around and do that same movement in the
come back to the north
spring when they go back to Canada.
Yeah, this information I had said there's also about 130 still in captivity, and I'm sure those are. And I know those are when they get those eggs. I know they try to raise those chicks so they can turn them loose in the wild as many as they can. And
they pioneered all that, like hands off.
Yeah,
they feed them with puppets. They're real,
real strict about
they
that.
Started that whole program that we use for a lot of different species of birds now.
Well, and mammals too. I mean, some like the bear refuge.
Bears, that some of these rehab facilities for black bears where they're real careful about how much human interaction they have, and that facility back in your country's got that down to a fine art.
Yeah. They so anyway, these birds, a few of these birds do pass through here going back to Florida or going to Florida. And I think there's also a group in Florida that just stays in Florida. I don't know that they move back and forth much. I think they've kind of set up household down there. I think. I didn't read that on the. I don't think I've got that information here, but I remember that from before. They actually made it on a U.S. postage stamp back in '57, which was the year of my birth, and that was to try to make awareness of the efforts that were going on even back then, which was long before the Endangered Species Act or any of that kind of stuff had come along. And I don't know, this kind of money back then might have all been coming out of hunters' pockets.
PRDJ, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know that for sure, but maybe. Let's see here. They were believed to always be somewhat rare, but the major declines in their population, of course, came along with everything, just like everything else. Habitat destruction and overhunting, and left them with 21. They may have eventually gone extinct at some point, but then again, we all do, I think, eventually if you leave us alone. But they think they went from 10,000 birds down to 100 or 1,000, 12 to 1,400 by 1870, and then by 38 there were 15 adults left in one flock. So they were down pretty darn low. They're almost as bad as condors. I mean, they're both in a similar kind of situation. Oh, in 1940, a hurricane in Louisiana killed about half of what was left then. So when you can't fight it from both ends. They had it said in 1960, Robert Porter Allen, an ornithologist with the National Audubon Society, appeared on a television show. Oh, To Tell the Truth. I used to watch that.
Huh.
And that because of what he was working in this conservation project for the cranes. And they're saying that gave a lot of publicity nationwide, the fact that they were even making that effort. And I've never seen that. I don't remember that episode. I may have seen it. And the Whooping Crane Conservation Association was created in 1961. I'm dyslexic this morning. Pardon me, guys.
It's kind of like the guy that started using powered hang gliders to teach geese how to migrate. Everybody would like to hang him in effigy now.
yeah, now. But they do that with the whooping cranes too. They have done that. I had a picture of that. I don't think I used it. They have flown whoopers down from, I guess, Wisconsin to.
I think that's where that whole idea started, was with this species.
And I think there is a movie about that. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I'm pretty sure.
I think it's about geese, but it might.
You think it's about geese? Okay.
I think it's a goose one.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Now that I think about it, I do remember seeing them land. It was not a crane, but I think they have done that with them. So, and there's been a lot of work done with these guys over the years. So that's one of my favorite birds, just because. And now we're going to change over. All these birds I consider wading birds, but the cranes, they're kind of in between in some ways. But wading birds pretty much hang out in the water or near the water, not always in it. And this is one of my absolute favorite birds right here, because I'll never forget the first time I saw one in Tennessee. And these were not common birds back then. They were pretty rare too, at least in this part of the country. And now they're everywhere. I mean, I see them all the time.
Yeah, they're in every little drainage,
Yeah. There's a neat thing happens. It's sort of a neat thing and a bad thing, I guess, in a way. It's a reaction to something we do. Or maybe reaction is not the right word. Anyway, let me explain it. You might know what I'm trying to say. They're below some of the dams on TVA's system.
Yeah.
When they release water at the dams, it will cause catfish and stuff to boil up and roll up. Not in a bad way. They're feeding, because it stirs up stuff on the bottom and it gets the fish moving, and they'll start feeding. I mean, and fishermen will actually go up in there, and some of them get too close every once in a while, and they get in trouble. I mean, physically, as in they drowned. And but there's some pictures I've seen below a couple of the dams where the tailwater is not huge, and it is lined for 150 yards of just one after another great blue herons standing there fishing, catching fish off the bank as that water comes down below that dam, and all those fish are up feeding and rolling. It's crazy. And there's lots and lots of them. Now, the bird on the right, one might say, well, that's like the whooping crane and the sandhill crane. No, it's not. That's the same bird. It's just that there is this group that have this white color phase. And it's sort of
Which
like,
makes it really handy to identify,
yeah.
because there's plenty of white herons too that are different.
Oh, yeah. But they're different. Legs are different. The beak's different. There's differences if you know what to look for. And I've never seen a white one. I don't think you would most likely see them in Florida. They may get further up than that, but most of them are down there in that area along the coast and in Florida. Mostly what we get up here are the regular old great blues. And Tina, now you see where the name came from today. I made the Ursus part up, but the Andia is the genus name of the great blue heron. And anyway, really neat bird. These guys are the bane to fish hatcheries and other things. They have to keep them out because they will come to a fish pond and they'll eat their fill, let's just say. But they're in fresh water. They go to the coast. They're in salt water, and they're pretty much all over the country now, as you can see by this map. And that's see how this one flies. Its neck is bent into an S shape. That's how these guys fly, as opposed to the cranes, which fly with their neck extended. Who knows? Maybe one of those is a more aerodynamic position. But here's something else I forgot to mention a minute ago. I believe, if I remember correctly, sandhills actually go to a much higher altitude when they migrate. They get up really high. And in fact, I've known of them to kind of pass over and you can hear them, but you can't see them. They're up high enough up high enough that any layer of smog or whatever conceals them pretty well. You don't even see them go by. But these guys don't do that, and they don't migrate in mass like cranes do or anything. They move back and forth. They'll move with the weather. They'll move with conditions. They'll go, they just kind of play it by ear as they go along. But great big hunking, beautiful bird. I just think they're so neat. I love to watch them hunt because they've got so much patience, and they'll literally just lock on to something in the water and they'll stand there stone still and then suddenly strike. And I've got some pictures of some other herons doing that in a minute that are really, really cool. And it's fun to watch them eat because they'll catch a fish. I'll show you a picture here in a minute. I'll just wait and do that in a minute. And this is how they roost and nest. And this is what you see. We've got places like this along the rivers and some of our small islands on the river where they've created a heronry or a rookery, some people call it, but I always thought these were heronries. And that's really cool up to a point. The problem is, when you get a whole island covered full of great blue herons and other such birds, after a while, their excrement will kill all the trees they're living in. And we've got islands in the river here, like the Tennessee River, where they've pretty much killed all the vegetation. And then the trees will start falling. They'll move to another place, and because it's don't ever say scat's not deadly, because in this case it really can be. Of course, white egrets are plentiful here as well. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that, John. We've got them here now, and again, that's another species that we didn't used to have here much in our lifetimes. And in fact, so much so that we used to monitor them when we'd start to see them, and the first ones I ever saw were near where we live now. It's funny, there's more of them around Cherokee Lake than seems like any other lake. That was the case. I don't know if it's still the case. They've probably spread out more by now. But anyway, this is how they nest in groups, or colonial nesters. And I see tons of herons on the marsh. Oh, I bet you do, John. They're pretty thick now. And they're very, what's the right word? They'll eat just about anything that they can catch.
I was turned off.
You back on?
Yeah, they were, the white egrets are probably the main victim of the feather trade.
Yeah, they are. And I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. But I thought this was great because it shows you everything the great blue will eat. They're not just fishers. That one in the upper right has caught a brown water snake, or at least that's what they thought it was. And that's him getting it in the position to eat it in a hurry. And actually, the bird in the middle is that same bird swallowing that snake. So that snake's working its way down through here into its gullet, into its gizzard, and being consumed. And here you can see they'll eat fish, a pretty good sized fish, which if they get one of those sideways in their mouth and the fins barbs catch, they can have trouble swallowing it. They always have to get it head first so the fins will fold up and go down. They'll eat a duck if they can catch one. They'll eat turtles if it's small enough for them to swallow.
Lots of frogs.
What?
Lots of frogs.
Lots of frogs and lizards of all kinds. Crabs in the ocean. These pictures at the top are the one on the left. He's got a pocket gopher, and the one on the right upper, he's got a Columbia ground squirrel. I think they said the picture said.
That's Montana.
Montana.
I bet that was taken in Montana.
Could have been.
That pocket gopher might have been in Wyoming. I see them in places that I'm like, what in the world are you doing out here? And they're out there eating like sagebrush cicadas or something, you know.
They're pretty opportunistic.
Tell Davey he'll have to watch his back cast. He might catch a heron.
And that bottom, Tina, you can avert your eyes if you need to. That lower one on the left has got a pretty good sized water snake he's getting ready to consume. That ought to keep him full for some time. But they're just big old cool birds, and some fishermen don't like them. That's probably just one of the reasons that some of these birds got nearly eliminated a long time ago, was they felt like they were too much competition. Cormorants are a pretty good example.
They still complain about them now, right to this day.
Oh, I know. I used to
every bird out there that eats a fish is a fish they could have had themselves, and they just complain and complain and complain. It's a wonder there's anything on the planet without white folks showing up here and teaching the world how to live.
Tina, I didn't mean to pick on you. I was thinking you said you didn't like to look at snakes. That's the only reason I said that.
She'd probably think that's a good snake, though.
But she might. That's true.
Eat birdy.
Because of Danny, eat that bird. Eat that snake. Oh, that's a good point. Anyway, let's see. I think I've got another picture of these guys here. Find my slides again. And I thought this was really cool. See this one in the upper left is sunning, literally catching, drying off or warming up. Again, there's a picture of them nesting and some young ones on a nest with an adult probably all wanting to be fed right now. At that top is a white one. He's got a lizard of some sort. That's a pretty good size. It's got a really long tail on that lizard. If you can see it, I can see it come all the way down in here, from here to there. And just one stretching out, walking quickly across the grass in your yard, probably. Cool birds. And then we got this little guy who I swear I thought we used to call this bird little blue herons, but I'm getting that mixed up. I think
that's a whole different one.
Huh?
That's a whole different.
I know. I realize that now. This is a tricolor. And I see these up here. I have seen these up here on occasion, but we don't seem to have a lot of them up here. And you can see by the map, they pretty much stay along the coastal area, from North to South America and out in Baja. But we have seen them here. I'm up on one of the lakes. We've seen them several times and recorded them and wrote them down and marked where they were and that kind of stuff. But we don't get a lot of them here, as you can see by the map. But
Yeah,
they're not.
He's really interested in heron. I mean, Florida's. I haven't been down there bird watching, but that South Texas country down right there on the coast, but like Padre Island and Baffin Bay and all that stuff in the Sound, it's just eaten up with herons and of all flavors. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, all kinds of these kind of birds. And these
when they do that mantling where they're making shade.
Yeah, they do this. Yeah, you know what it is. They do this to cut out glare, and they can see better. And who knows? With the way fish are, they like to be under things. They might even come to it. I don't know. I thought that was really cool, though. That's neat when they do that.
There's a bird in Africa, I can't remember what it is, that has taken that to an extreme. And they literally open their wings up and literally make like an umbrella all the way around them, 360 degrees. And the fish are attracted to that shade and the glare, like you're saying, there's no glare or less glare. And they put their primary feathers almost in the water and just.
I've seen that.
And they just stand there, and those fish come to them, and they just they pick them off.
And boy, they are fast, and they're accurate too. They don't miss many. I've seen that, Mark, but I can't remember what bird that is.
It might be a heron species. I saw it on Life of Birds or something. I was like, that's fan. And they stomp around in a circle. It brings up aquatic invertebrates and things like that too.
Tina, I can't say they don't actually see the bird, but when a bird stands, these guys they just literally freeze.
They're the masters of that.
I mean, they are so good at hunting. They step when they do move, they're very deliberate with their feet, and they move really slow, and then they'll lock down, and they may stay absolutely stone still for minutes at a time and never move. So the fish just, they're just swimming around and zap.
And then that coiled neck just boom, and they got it.
It's like, I don't know how they are compared to a snake, but I bet they strike every bit as fast as most snakes do, or faster. And I've got a really good picture here just in a minute. I thought it was a really cool picture. So that's the tricolor. Now, this is a bird that, again, I didn't used to ever see up here, but we get these guys every once in a while. And this is a great egret. And these birds are actually, they're in a lot of places around the world. They're not just here. I think it's them. But here's one way I tell them apart, just at a glance. Of course, they look different. The feathers are different. The green lowers around their nose up there is different. But the legs tend to be black, and sometimes the feet are yellow. And I don't know at what stage, but a lot of times their beaks are yellow, more yellow than a great blue tends to just be dark or black. You can see the one picture on the one on the right that's hitting that water. I love that picture because that reflection is just perfect. Somebody worked hard to get that photo. But you can see these birds are all over the world pretty much, and they're more or less the same species. According to my information, they may not stay that way as they work on genetics. And like I said, and we joke and say when they throw them in a blender, because then you can really get down into that DNA level stuff, and sometimes that changes things. But as of right now, this is kind of where they're at. And there's a picture of that one, Mark. He's got a lot of, well, actually, that one's coming in for a landing. So he's got flaps down, gear down.
Look at that. You can see the reflection and the shadow and the bird.
Yeah,
That's a cool photo.
that is. And these birds, what you said earlier, these birds and the smaller snowy herons, all were hunted pretty heavily for feathers during the great feather trade of the late 1800s, early 1900s. I'm not sure exactly what that.
Our boys, Will and Maurice, that's how they made their living, with bows and arrows.
That's what I was going to say. After the Civil War, that's what they did, and it was to get these feathers.
They were employed in it even during the Civil War. They left.
Well, that's true. They did.
One of the two of them did, anyway.
I mean, this was all about women's fashion, pretty, as far as I know. I don't know anything else they used them for.
Just feathers for hats for women's garments.
Us humans can be pretty bad about stuff like that from time to time. But these are beautiful birds. But like I said, I see them. They're not as big as a great blue heron, but they're pretty good sized. And the first time I saw one up here, I thought, oh God, there's a white, a great blue in the white face. But it wasn't. And but they're pretty neat birds. And this is the actual little blue heron that I was talking about earlier.
And that's a great photo of how they fly with their necks folded up.
Yeah. And look, that is a great photo, period. Look how sharp that is, the eyeball. I always was taught to look at the eye and see how in focus or focus on the eye at one time. But the legs, the feet, that is a great photo. I'm going to say this, and somebody can tell me I'm wrong, but this modern technology with cameras and how the shutters work and the speeds and the way they focus has done a lot of this. It made it so much, we can take so much better pictures now. I'm not saying people are not in the equation, they are, but they're so much clearer and sharper. It's amazing. And here is their basic range. So every once in a while we do get them up here. I don't see them. I haven't seen them up this way very often though. We counted a few. We used to do a few bird counts on like Cherokee and stuff from time to time. And Cherokee and Douglas both have some big wetland areas. Especially Douglas has got a really, right where the Nowachucky, Mark, right where the Nowachucky dumps out into Douglas Lake.
Yeah.
And it's just above where the the French Broad comes in. The Nowachucky comes in, and there's a big island area there that part of it floods every year called oh crap, there's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it's a big wetland area and gets a lot of birding activity. And that was the place, that's where Steve Cottrell sunk the dynamite truck, because he got out on the soft part of the island. Okay, what did Nico say? Tim, you're wrong. What am I wrong about? I'm wrong about a lot of things. Which thing are you talking about?
You told him to tell you if you were wrong.
Oh, okay. And then Carol said somebody had to say it. You don't have to support it. Just, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I bet I'm not too far off. Anyway, some more cool birds, and this is a younger bird, and you can see it's much lighter in color than the older ones are. And then we get to the snowy. This is much smaller than the great egret. And you can see how the feathers, I mean, look at the feathers on that bird. And that's what drove it on this. I don't know how close they really got to being endangered, not nearly like a whooping crane or a condor, but the numbers really were low because there were lots and lots of these birds in the old days, as some people might say. But you can look how dark the legs are. This one's got yellow feet. They don't all have that much of a distinctive color, but it's generally like that. And that's another way sort of to tell that it's an egret, one of the egret species, or yeah, what I said. Let's see if I have anything.
What is it?
John, you'll be glad to know that its name its scientific name is based in French. And this bird has a counterpart from like an old world bird, and it's called the
Egret.
little egret. It's just called the little egret, and the snowy and the little are very similar, very close to the same size. And it used to be that one was on this continent, North and South America, but now there are some. We're getting the other guys also. I'll show you that in a minute. They look a lot alike. And you can see here kind of there. Look at I love that picture at the bottom. Those two egrets. That's probably either a rivalry thing or more of a courtship dance. But that's cool. Another really good picture. And you can see that one down at the bottom is doing its own version of spearfishing. Again, all these birds are just great hunters. So this is the little egret, and you can see it looks very similar to that last guy, but there are differences if you look. Feathers are different in places. The eyes are different, and that the area around their bill or beak, known as the lores, Lores. At least that's what I've always called it. Is more yellow on the snowy, and on this it tends to just be black or dark. But these birds are moving in. They're here. This used to be an Asian European bird, but now some have moved over here, and I think I've got it written down here in just a moment. They first showed up here in the 30s, I think.
Sorry, Tina. Oh, Hank was in here talking earlier, and he woke Danny up.
Sorry about that. That's one of the things you have to be cautious of on this show. Your dog may be woke up.
There's always going to be something.
Yeah, Carol, that's kind of true. It really does, depending on what they're trying to do or what they're doing. And I tried to break this map down a little bit. Hang on just a second.
Hydration break.
Just losing my voice. All the European and Africa and Asian, the green, all that area is where these birds were originally, to our knowledge at least. But all these pink dots on this other map represent locations where these birds now occur pretty regularly. Actually, they're starting to actually expand their territory. Usually a dot like that means there might be an occasional sighting, but these birds are now breeding and fledging young in this hemisphere. And it's one of those things where you don't know if they got brought here or they They actually say they think these guys may have gotten over here, literally migrated over to this continent. What you got in your hand there? Is that a dog?
Who?
I thought you had a dog in your lap. Another one. Okay.
No, look, no dogs.
No dogs. No dogs. Anyway, all those pink dots, and as far north as Nova Scotia and up in that area of Canada, these birds have occurred. Now, they're not, I don't think they're breeding so much up here, but they certainly are in the Bahamas and along the north coast of South America. They've established themselves in this hemisphere. We'll see if it lasts, but I don't know why it wouldn't at this point. And this is just what they look. This is how they nest. They probably killed that tree. As you can see, all the whitewash around that nest. Just imagine that multiplied by a few hundred birds in one tree.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. Those
rookeries are nasty.
They are nasty.
You get to, if you do surveys under them, you're going to get nasty too.
Yeah, you are. I've been up by them, never in them, but they stink. That's just all there is to it. They stink.
You'll get it from both ends of those birds.
Yeah, that's true. These little guys will crap on you and puke on you.
They're like the vultures of the wading bird world.
They are. They really are. Let's see if I had any other notes here before I move on to the next one. Nope. So I guess you'd have to call it a new starting to become a new resident bird over here. We'll see how far they spread. If they get up into Florida and start moving up the coast, which I think they already have, I think they'll establish and be here for a while. And this is another one of those birds that wasn't around here not so long ago. And this is now what they now call the Western Cattle Egret. And there's an Eastern and a Western. They're very similar. There are some differences. These are the birds you usually find in Africa. But now we have them here. And they're all over this country, not just in a few places. We have them here. They're in Florida. They're in Texas. Do what?
Anytime somebody cuts a hay meadow out here along the river, they're everywhere.
I mean, seeing that. And here, I've got a little bit of information about that. It said they're found in the tropics, subtropics, and warm temperate zones. But like you said, they're already up into your country.
We have them thick in Wyoming.
They're now you used to lump them kind of all together. Now they're treated as Eastern and Western, kind of as two separate species. I thought I had the dates when they showed up here somewhere. And of course, when they got here, like most things, they're not native, so they don't have any native predators, and that gives them a really good chance of multiplying, expanding that range, and establishing it before anything else can happen. Some of them, and some of them are migratory, some of them are really not. Depends on where they live. But they like cattle, they like other animals. They ride the back. These are the animals, and I got a picture. These are the birds you see on the backs of elephants and hippos and rhinoceroses and the big black cows like you have seen in Africa. And this is their range now. And as you can see, they have done well in the east, or in the Western Hemisphere. Oh, this is where my numbers are a little bit. You can kind of see from this map where they started. They think they came over from Africa into South America like in the 30s. And then slowly but surely they worked their way up. By the 70s, they were all over the continent. In South America, they pretty much stayed west of the Andes, which probably makes sense. They probably moved over to the top here here, and then went down that side of the mountains. The Everglades, not the Everglades, the Amazon area probably doesn't suit them that well.
Yeah, and you could blacken that in, that range map, all the way to Washington State.
Yeah.
Probably up into British Columbia. And that's, well, what's it say, 1970?
Yeah, 1970 is what this map says.
Yeah, that's ultra conservative. The little guys are everywhere. They don't might be as angry as English sparrows do.
Well, you can look at this map. I mean, it's yellow all the way up to into Canada.
But they got here naturally.
Yeah, they came over naturally.
That's a long flight, buddy.
They said
you're a wading bird. You're not a bird like a pelagic bird that takes off from the surface of the water. So they had to make that flight all the way from the Horn there clear over to South America. That's a long airplane ride, let alone if you're a bird.
Well, let me read you just a little bit of information here. It says about this range and their extension. It says the cattle egret has undergone one of the most rapid and wide-reaching natural expansion of any bird species. Again, natural expansion. It was originally native to parts of southern Spain and Portugal, tropical and subtropical Africa, and Western Asia. In the end of the 19th century, it began expanding its range into southern Africa, first breeding in the Cape Province in 1908. Cattle egrets were first sighted in the Americas on the boundary of Guyana and Suriname in 1877, having apparently flown across the Atlantic Ocean. It was not until the 1930s that the species is thought to have become established in that area. The species first arrived in North America, our part of the world, in 1941. These early sightings were originally dismissed as escapees. Again, people thought, oh, these got out of zoos or somebody let them loose, or, Charlie, bait bucket Charlie kind of thing. But that's not true. It first bred in Florida in 1953 and spread rapidly, breeding for the first time in Canada by 1962. It is now commonly seen as far west as California. It was first recorded breeding in Cuba in 1957, Costa Rica in 58, Mexico in 63, although it was probably established before that. In Europe, the species had historically declined in Spain and Portugal, which is kind of interesting. That was its original territory. But the latter part of the 20th century expanded back through the Iberian Peninsula and began to colonize other parts of Europe, southern France in 58. This bird really moved around and adapted. It was in France, southern France in 58, northern France by 1981, and it was over in Italy by 1985. Started breeding in the United Kingdom, first recorded in 2008, only a year after an influx seen in the previous year. Not in 2008, cattle egrets were also reported as having moved into Ireland for the first time. The massive and rapid expansion of the cattle egret range is due to its relationship with humans and their domesticated animals, originally adapted to a commensal type relationship with large grazing and browsing animals. It was easily able to switch to domestic cattle and horses. As the keeping of livestock spread throughout the world, cattle egret was able to occupy otherwise empty niches. That's, like I said, it got here, no enemies. It expanded. Many populations of cattle egrets are highly migratory and dispersive. This was helpful. Species expand its range. Let's see. The species has been seen as a vagrant in the various sub-Antarctic islands. Probably not breeding down there though, including South Georgia and Marion. That's getting down there pretty far. It does say they have been deliberately introduced. Yes.
No, I'm just waving to Brenda.
Oh, okay, babe. Holler if you need something. I'll come down and check on you in a little bit. So these birds have really, I mean, pretty amazing for a bird to naturally be able to do all this kind of stuff and the amount of time it has done it. I mean, from the late 1800s till now, it's covered North and South America pretty much, and it wasn't there.
It's like you're raising collared doves.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, you're raising collared doves are
They,
all over. I saw some when I was out at your place last time.
I think they got into the States in Florida from the islands where they were definitely released by humans, but they got into Florida, and then in like a decade, they were darn near in every county in the lower 48.
Tina, yes, they did fly across the oceans. They believe they flew from Africa across that part of the Atlantic over into South America. And I don't, that's just how adaptable this bird is. They might have
just taken one storm to bring enough of them over or something, They could have caught winds that they couldn't fight against, and they just ended up making landfall somewhere. And there, what do you say, Bob's your uncle?
Yeah, Bob's your uncle. Well, that happens all the time. Storms blow birds, like just in this country. For example, we have every winter, if you monitor like the bird watching list in Tennessee, every winter after a big storm front comes through or something, we'll have hummingbirds that don't belong here.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them, but one or two here and there. People will see them. And sometimes they stay all winter, maybe until they get a chance to get favorable weather to go wherever they need to go. But, we've had calliope hummingbirds here. We've had, there's a green one. I can't remember what the species name is now, that we've had here before. So, I mean, it just varies, but almost every year you'll see one or two, and that's but they don't stay and they don't get established because they just can't adapt maybe to these conditions. They probably don't like the heat and humidity more than I do. So here's kind of what we see. These birds, this is where these birds are so familiar. You may see one if you go to Disney World and you ride around the safari ride, you'll see these guys. You may see these guys on a hippo's back or an elephant's back, but you will certainly see them on cattle. There's one standing on the back of Cape Buffalo and Bogo. Here's one on an elephant. Here's one on just a Texas cattle or cow, steer, something. And here's another one standing on this black Angus. So we got them. I mean, and they're definitely here. They're here to stay, I think, unless they run out of stuff to eat and move further away. But it seems to me like at this point they have pretty much gotten established. They even moved back into their old Portugal, the Iberian Peninsula area. They've, repopulated Portugal and Spain. So, they're finding life that suits them. Well, maybe some of them do, Tina, but at this point, I think that's the case with hummingbirds and some of the other birds, exotics that we get in here. I had two on record somewhere out there being the first reported sighting of two western grebes. I saw two western grebes here on Norris Lake one year, and that was, I think, the first time we'd ever had them in East Tennessee, and that was probably the case with them. They somehow got blown off course. Somehow they ended up over here, but they did eventually, get a favorable wind and go back home, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point, Tina. They pretty much do. You're right. They're not gonna. Most of these herons and egrets and this type bird, they're very opportunistic. They'll eat pretty much, and they're omnivorous. They'll omnivores. They'll eat anything. They're kind of like no, I won't say that. I don't want to insult anybody. Oh
But
yeah,
they don't eat much vegetable matter.
no, they know that's a good point. These guys don't eat. Yeah, they don't eat much vegetable matter.
Unlike cranes will eat vegetables and meat.
Oh, they
These guys
love
are
corn.
pretty much just carnivores, but they'll eat anything that is animal matter.
Yeah, small animals, lizards,
Carrion.
snakes, bugs.
They'll eat it all.
Yeah, and that for this week is that. But I've got more. I got lots more, and I had a bunch more slides. And I knew that by the time I got through that many slides, I'd be out of voice and out of breath.
We didn't even get to talk about my favorites, the shy pokes.
I'm not done yet.
Well, I saw the coolest carving yesterday.
Oh yeah,
of the little green heron, like hunkered over the water. And it was the guy had carved the bird, and he carved lily pads. Had him standing on a nice piece of driftwood. It was cool.
that's a neat thing about shy pokes or whatever you want to call them. Little green herons is they tend to hunt. They get in the water, but they tend to stand above the water on rocks or limbs that are sticking out, or that's where you see them hunting from a lot back here anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a whole bunch more of these kind of birds, and I'm going to probably do them next week. For example, we can talk about wading. When you start talking about wading birds or shorebirds or whatever you want to call them, things like the phalo rope we saw out at your place.
Yeah.
I mean, that is such a cool bird, and its
biology is weird.
Its biology is so much different than everything else, almost everything else out there, that makes it really cool. So I've got pictures of that too. So we'll have some more birds. I got lots. I just couldn't talk about them all in one day, and because as you can see, there are lots and lots of them, and lots more. But these are big. These the ones we talked about today tend to be some of the bigger ones. Not all the big ones, but a lot of them, at least that we have here. Do what?
Wife's getting out the hummingbird feeders.
Who's it? Who is?
My wife.
Oh, your wife. Your wife. Sorry. Brenda was she was going to fill our hummingbird feeders yesterday or the day before, and she went out, and we've seen hummingbirds, but not as many as we'd like to see. And she said she sat out there, she'll be working in the yard and watch the hummingbird feeders and won't see one. She went out there the other day and got them off the hook and was going to bring them in the house, clean them, refill them. And a hummingbird flew up, got right in her face. She said it just hovered right in front of her. She said she could see it, the most, that brilliant, beautiful red.
That's why psycho birders wear like red ball caps.
Oh, that's a good point.
If they're looking for hummingbirds specifically, you'll see, like if you go down to southern Arizona or southern New Mexico and run into a bunch of bird people, all of them will be in red ball caps.
I didn't even think about that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, it works.
I'm sure it does.
If you're wearing a uniform shirt of the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, you'll have hummingbirds following you around.
See you, Chuck. Everybody's leaving. If I missed you, thanks for being here. Hope to see you again next week. Love you. I'm not signing off yet. I'm just saying bye to everybody. Some of the folks are leaving, looks like. So Tina said anything that crawls or slithers or hops is fair game for those birds. And that's very true. But that's a good idea on the hummingbirds. I'll tell Brenda to get a red hat. I don't think we've got any red hats around here.
Or a red bandana or whatever. Something red.
Just anything red, yeah.
Shirt. Bright red shirt.
Oh me, that was.
You know,
I was going to ask you something else.
they have to do about hunting or fishing.
Probably did. Oh, I finally found it. I don't know if you hadn't been here in a couple of weeks. I've been looking for the hunker is not a squat story.
It's in the grasshopper trap.
It's in the grasshopper trap. I thought it was in one of the other books, and I kept looking through them and I couldn't find it. And if I had the voice for it, I'd read it. But the other one I've got to find is the one where he talks about the momentary stationary panic. Because Brenda loved that story, and she always talks about that.
The screaming Mimi.
But here's the hunker is not a squat. One of my favorite stories, and something I think a lost talent. People don't understand that anymore. And I like to go out when I was working. I tended to want to go out and have a hunker with the landowners a lot of times and talk to them about things. And not all my cohorts understood that. I got this for Christmas one year. I don't know if you can see that or not, but 1985. This might have gone to Minnesota. I may have read this in the back.
I think we had many a fine conversation over that book.
Yeah.
Actually, we just laughed till we cried all the way to Minnesota. And not a very big part of the pickup truck bed. Under a camper shell.
Under a camper shell.
Going through Chicago. That was on the way back. But
I mean, listen to these chapter names just for a moment. The skunk ladder.
I've used that. Professionally, I have deployed that tactic.
How to go splat. The human fuel pump. Trailer trials.
Yeah.
I've lived those.
Gasoline in the carburetor under the hood while Rancid Crabtree was driving the truck.
Yeah. The grasshopper trap is actually a story. Never cry snake. There's a good one with a proper title. Metamorphosis and other outdoor phenomena wives don't understand.
That's where you put a pearl necklace in the closet to hide it, and it turns into a 25 caliber automatic.
Honest, honey, I bought you a necklace, but it's
a pearl necklace for you, and it turned into a 25 auto.
That's right. Here's a story about your first knife.
That's a great book.
It is a great book.
If you have to read just one Pat McManus, that would be the one to start with.
Here's one where he talks about character flaws.
Oh my!
The crick ritual. Here's a good
I love the crick. Where's my tenor shoes? Never like Chucky Taylor wading boots.
Oh my! I gotta find the other one. This not in this one. I know, but I got them back here. I found them. I had them in a box. They were underneath another box of books, and I got them.
Well, I was on here one day when you said I had found them.
I did, but I didn't realize this was the one I was really looking for. I was looking for that story, and I pulled everything else out of the box because I thought surely it was in one of the earlier books. Because this one didn't come out. This is like his third, fourth, or fifth book. I can't remember. Well, according to this, books that were also by him at this time were Kid Camping from A to Zip, in which I've got to get. That's one I don't have. A Fine and Pleasant Misery, which is they shoot canoes, don't they?
That was an early one.
Yeah, and they shoot canoes, don't they? Which was the first one I believe I ever, might have been the first one I ever got. And then Never Sniff a Gift Fish.
Never Sniff a Gift Fish.
So maybe this was number 5. But man, this is so full of good stuff. Lots of things to live by in here. Oh man, there's some great. Oh, that guy he wrote some great stuff.
Well, buddy, I'm gonna go work on a corral.
Well, you go do that, and
just because, man,
post some
very
pictures.
pleasant day. It started out looking like it was going to rain, and it might still, but right now,
well, it was cool here this morning, probably in the 50s.
Well, it got up to 80 here yesterday, or 80 plus. It was.
It probably did here too.
Too hot.
Man, we had a wicked little storm blew through this valley night before last. Not
I
my power out.
I saw that. That was a good one.
It was the dandy, and man, it rattled my roof. All right, guys, everybody have a great. I'm getting ready to sign off, Tina. I really am. I'm slowing down. I just hadn't got there yet. I got to I can't just do a sudden stop. I sort of got to glide into it, and to make a good landing. Thanks, guys. Love y'all for being here. Thank you. I'll be back next week. Yeah, I'll be back next week. See you. Be careful out there. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. What's left of it. Happy Father's Day. I forgot to tell Mark Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to any fathers that are left in the room, or pass it on. And we will see you guys again next week. Bye-bye. And I'm going to hit this thing up here, and I'm going to wave and look kind of silly till it says